tell me what's the ideal scenario for back to school?
Ideally, now that there's a remote learning option for parents, my ideal is that the children that don't go remote, every child goes back full-time in person, without a hybrid schedule. I think that we need our teachers back, our classrooms back, we need the sports, we need the extracurriculars, we need the community really back. Our kids have been locked down for going on 6 months, and it hasn't been good. Kids have been in crisis. And so I think one of the first things that we can do to address the mental health issues of all of our children is to get that structure back and get the community back and start school again full time.
And Jackie, you're an advocate, we know, for special needs children.
Yes.
Your son Dustin is a special needs student, but you're an advocate for all students, really.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things with Dustin that he worked so hard for is inclusion. So for us, I would never just advocate for special needs children to be back in school, because part of his life and his community has been in the general population, and his friends are all among all different factions, and I think every child deserves to have that same opportunity as a special needs children. Yes, there are plenty of special needs children that need school desperately right now, but there's just as many neurotypical children that are desperate for that same structure and feeling of safety and getting their academics back in. And there's kids that are counting on scholarships to college, and there's elementary students that need a foundation, that they're not getting the foundation that they need. So yeah, I mean, I advocate as hard as I go for the special needs kids, that's just as hard as I feel that all kids really need to be back in school. I don't think we need any segregation. I don't think segregation really helps anybody in our community.
I agree with you. I'm a mom of 4, and I've really seen how my children have been really suffering through it.
A lot of people have, absolutely.
And I like how you mentioned community, because I really feel like we need to get our community back.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you had a message to give to the union, the NJEA, what would that message be?
I mean, I will say I've had phone calls with the NJEA this entire lockdown as I've been advocating for schools to reopen. And what I would say to them is that their messaging is actually very harmful to kids. Our kids are all on social media. Our kids see everything. So the messaging that they've been giving out has been one that is very hurtful, and saying that, kids are going to kill their teachers and going to kill their grandparents, and stuff that the data just doesn't support. The science and the data do not support it. But that instilling of fear as a way to control people is very harmful to kids. They are already suffering. So I know every child wants to feel like they're welcome somewhere, wants to feel that their teachers are happy to see them and happy to be back with them.
Right.
It's very important. I mean, that's none of us as parents can raise children alone. We all, rely on the interactions with each other in the community and all of that feeling.
And you've been talking to teachers who want to go back,
absolutely,
right? They're ready to go back.
Absolutely. I adore my son's teachers. Every one of them has been, they've even gone against the union and been on phone calls with me advocating with the union and with the superintendent. So I have to say that I've had full support from my son's teachers. The ones I've spoken to all want to be back in school. I think they're just as frustrated. Again, there are people who have, are advocating for staying home, and I understand that their personal reasons, but, basically my interactions have all been positive, and every teacher that I've spoken to that is in my son's life is eager to get back, and they know how essential they are to the kids' experience in school.
So your ideal situation for back to school is optional, right? Optional remote or optional full-time?
Well, there is an
week.
option right now for remote learning. So, and I understand there are people who believe that's the best option for them or their family's
Right. They might
safety.
have a compromised immune system.
Immunity. They might have
right.
an elderly grandparent that lives with them. I understand all of that. But they have that option. So we've already established that can happen for them. For the other people, I think now that we have taken out a certain percentage of the population, we don't know those numbers yet. I'd like to know the numbers, but now that we've taken out that percentage of the population, I think we need to figure out how to get everyone back in school full time. And our district came back with 2 half days in school. So there's lots of questions. I don't understand why no one is going to school on a Wednesday, why the teachers are in school but the kids are not in school on a Wednesday.
Right.
I think that more can be done, and the answers that we've been given, I don't feel like they've been satisfactory.
Okay. So let's wrap it up with, what message would you give parents out there?
I mean, I'll give the same message I've been giving to parents, which is keep fighting. These are your children. These are our children. And keep fighting. Don't give up. Don't give in. Call your case manager if you have an IEP. Write to your principal. Email the board. I know that we have been doing this all along. I know you've all signed petitions. I know that everyone's tired and feeling defeated and feeling nervous that any minute they're going to shut down schools and go all virtual again. But let's just keep making sure they all know where we stand and that we're feeling that this is what's best for our children, and really parents are the best advocates.